All right, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to talk about data types. So before we dive into any coding examples, let's first learn about data types, okay? So in programming, data types is an important concept. Variables can store data of different types, and different types can do different things. Python has the following data types built in by default in these categories. So you have text type, which is a string, or str, numeric types, which is int for integer, float, and complex. Sequence types, we have list, tuple, and range. Mapping types, we have set and frozen set. Boolean type is bool. And then binary types is bits, bit array, and then memory view, okay? So these are really the important parts of data types. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to dive in now and we're going to create variables and then set those variables with these data types. So for example, we're going to make a variable and then we're going to give it a string, which would be the text type, str. Then we're going to make another variable and give it a numeric type with an integer, a float, or a complex. So we'll give it a number. Okay, so an integer would be, for example, would be 40, okay? And a float would be 20.5 or 40.5, okay? Complex would be a number and a letter. So for example, it would be 5 and A, okay, would be the example. Then for sequence types, we're going to do a list. So we could do, for example, we'll do operating systems. So Windows, Mac OS, Linux, okay? Tuple, same thing. Mac, Linux, Windows. Range, we could do a variety of things. We can type out a range and then give it a number, and then you'll see what happens with it. I don't want to give too much away because I want us to actually go in and have fun with this, okay? For set, same thing. You can do Mac OS, Windows, and Linux, okay? Frozen set, you can do the same thing. You can do Mac OS, Windows, and Linux. Boolean is simple, okay? It's on or off, true or false. That's all Boolean is, okay? It's very simplistic. And then binary types. You can do bits, which would be the letter B and hello. Bit array would be bit array and then a number, so 5, and then memory view, bits 5, okay? Now, I'm going to go more into detail when I show you the example, okay? Because really, you're going to learn more about this when we actually get into the coding and really do it. But I wanted to explain to you first what exactly we're going to be learning so you have a good base of, okay, data types are this, this, and this. And the other thing to remember too is variables are crucial, okay? We haven't talked about variables yet, but I'm going to introduce you to variables right now, and then we're going to dive into variables later on in the course, okay? So let's jump into our notebook, which is Anaconda, and we'll dive right into it. All right, so let's open up Anaconda here. And remember, we are saving all of our documents on the desktop. And so I'm going to launch this up again, and I'll bring down the web browser here so you can see my interface so that you can follow along. We're going to go to the desktop, and we're going to go to Python Basics. Okay, so we have syntax, comments. I've already made data types in here, so I'm going to click there. But go ahead and click on New, and then do Python, and you're good to go. All right? All right, so we've opened up Anaconda. Now I'm going to launch the notebook. And then what I want you to do is, if you already have a notebook launched, then you're good to go. All I want you to do is go to your browser that opens up once you have Notebook opened, and we're going to go to Desktop, and then we're going to click on Python Basics, and then we're going to click on New, and we're going to do Python 3 Notebook, and then we're going to name this Data Types. Okay, so let's go to File. In fact, not File. Let's go up to Untitled and type in Data Types, and let's do 03. Okay, so 03 period Data Types. Okay, and let's rename this. And now we're good to go. So let's go back here and make sure it's there. It is. Beautiful. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to talk about a couple things here. We're going to cover the data types. So we talked about this in the slide, and basically what we were saying is the data types are an important concept. So I'm going to review kind of what I read in the PowerPoint. So data types are very important. Variables can store data of different types. So the idea behind that is this, is if you create a variable, which we haven't talked about yet, which I'm going to introduce to you right now, but if you create a variable, I want you to think of a variable as a container, okay? A garbage can, okay? So your garbage can is a variable, okay? And you can put different types of garbage in there. So you have, for example, a string or text, okay? You have numbers, you have sequences, you have mapping, set types, Boolean, which is true or false, or binary. So you can put all these different types in there to get a different result. And that's the idea, is to give it diversity and complexity so you can go in different directions, okay? It's like being at a four-way stop, okay? And you want to decide which way, are you going to go straight, are you going to go left or right? Now that's only 3 types. But if you go down the street again, you can go left, right, or straight. So now you have 6 types, right? And let's say you go down another road, and this time it's only a 3-way stop. So you can only go left or right. But the idea behind that is this, is that with the data types, you have a total of 7 types that you can do, okay? So now we're going to talk about strings. So the very first thing I want you to do, and you'll remember this because in the previous video, we talked about comments. So what I want you to do is do hashtag, and we're going to do text type strings, okay? And then let's type in colon str. So you know what the extension is. So you know what you're doing when you're calling a string, okay? And that's the abbreviation for a string or a text, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to use the globally used example. So to create a variable and then include a string, you're going to do the following. We can do any letter you want. You can do A equals, and then in quotes, put hello world. This is my first string, okay? And then let's run this, okay? Now, that's what I expected it to do because we didn't print, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to do print, and then we're going to print A, okay? Now let's run that. Hello world, this is my first string. Okay, so there you go. So now you've created your first variable, congratulations, and you've used your first data type, which is a string or text, okay? So whenever you hear the word string, just think of text, okay? That's all a string is. It's just text. And it's the very basic of data types. But it, again, is a lot of fun. And Python is a lot of fun. Programming is a lot of fun. So remember to always have fun with this. Don't get nervous. Don't be afraid. If you're worried or concerned about something, send me your questions. I'll be happy to answer it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the next data type. So if you remember when I was talking in the PowerPoint, I talked about numeric types. So we have integer or int, float, and complex. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each one of these. And again, we'll label everything so you know what's what. But what we're going to do is similar to what we were doing before. So we're going to do integer first, okay? And all this is a number. So let's do the comment again. And we're going to do init. So int, sorry. And what we're going to do is numeric types. Okay, and I want you to write in every single one. So we're going to do integer, float, and complex. Okay, now when I go here, we're going to do the first one, which is integer. Okay, so with this, what we're going to do is we'll label this init. Okay, and then we're going to do a equals 40. Okay, and then we're going to do print A, and then we'll run it. And now you have the number 40. So you ran a number, okay? So we created a variable. The variable name is A, and the data type is a number, okay? So we're making a statement there. We're saying, I want to create a variable, but I want it to be a number, okay? And now you stored this, so now you can use this wherever you want. Now, one thing you want to remember, and I need to watch myself here, is we don't want to label everything A, because if these were working together, there would be a conflict, okay? So the next one we're going to talk about is the float. So the float will work in between. So we can do 40.5, okay? So we're going to do float, and then we'll do B equals 40.5, okay? And then let's print B, okay? So when I hit run, we printed 40.5. So if I wanted to do another float, so let's do float 2. So we'll just call float again, and we'll do C equals 50.1, okay? And then we print C plus B, okay? And we run it, not equals, sorry. We're going to do plus. So we're going to add these up. 90.6. So it adds up both. Now, if I did A plus C plus B, and I run it, it's 130.6, and you see how it ignored this, because I'm not running the string with the numbers here. They're not working together. The only thing that it's recognizing is the numbers. However, if I make this D, and then we print D, okay, and then I do plus D, let's see what happens. I run it again, I get an error. And the reason why I get an error is because you cannot run text or string with numeric types without writing the proper syntax, okay? So what I'm going to do for right now is we're going to delete D, okay? I'm going to delete D, and I'm just going to leave it ACB. And I'm going to run it again, and now we have it correct. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to change this to A, because I want to keep this in order. This is going to be B, okay? And then this is going to be C, and then this is going to be D, and then what we're going to do is we're going to run it in sequence. So we'll do B plus C plus D, and then we run it again, and now you have 140.7. So that is the numeric data type. Now that's float and integer, but we haven't run the other one, okay? Which is, which one? Complex. So complex, what that does is that allows you to run a letter and a number, okay? So it'll let you run both. All right, so now let's talk about complex. Okay, so complex data types consist of a option where you can run a string with a number. Now it's not a string in a way where you would put it in quotes. That's how you define that it's a string. But it will run with a number and a letter. So let's do that, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to do E equals 7J, okay? And then we're going to print E, okay? And then I want to print type. So let's just do print E first, just so we can see what it does, okay? So it prints 7J, okay? Now let's print type X, okay? And then run that and see what that does, which I know what it does, but okay, so it's going to throw an error because I typed in the wrong letter. So instead of X, let's do E and then run that. Okay, so we have class complex, okay? So it's showing you what the type is. So if we were to do that here, if we do print type and then D and then run that, float, okay? And then here, if I print type C, float, okay, which we all know because we labeled it that. And then if I do print type, not times, sorry, type B, and then I run it, what do we get? Integer. Okay, so, and let's also do the string. Let's see what that displays. Because again, this is a lot of fun, right? We're just having fun and typing and talking and having a good time. So, string. So you have class str, which is a text type, which is a string. Then you have numeric type, which is an integer, so int. And then we have float, which will do whole numbers or 0.5, 0.3, whatever you need, okay? And then float again here, okay? So we did it twice, and then we did the complex, which allows you to add a letter in with your number, okay? So if you need to have a number with a letter, that's how you can do it, and it's complex. So if you call that data type with your variable, then you can call that with your function, with your arrays, whatever you're doing, you can grab it from here and then use that in your program, okay? That's the beautiful and like flexibility of Python, is it allows you to do that, okay? So that is the numeric type, okay? Now let's talk about sequence type or types, okay? So let's do the same thing now. So you notice when we did this one, we just had one. It's just a string. Numeric had 3. So we did that. Now I want to do sequence types. So we're going to comment this out and we'll do sequence types, okay, colon, and then we're going to do list, tuple, and range, okay? And my apologies if I butcher the word. Tuple, I believe, is the correct pronunciation. So with this, we'll do list first, okay? So if we go to the list and we do list first, we're just going to put it in order. Like I said, Windows, Linux, Mac OS, right? So let's do the list first, okay? So what we're going to do is let's do F, because again, we're going in order. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, okay, equals, and then brackets, okay, and quotes. So we're going to do Windows, comma, space, and then we'll do Mac OS, and then space, after the comma, then we'll do a space, and then we'll do Linux, okay, and I'll do it all lowercase, okay. So when I print that, let's see what happens when I run it. Nothing happens. Okay, and the reason why that is because we didn't print anything. So let's do print F, okay, and now let's run it. And now we have Windows, Mac OS, and Linux, okay. And now let's figure out what the type is. So print type, and then do F, okay. And remember, this mechanism is designed so that if you are walking into a line of code and you don't know what type it is, you can look it up, okay? So it's class, and then it's a list, okay? So again, we're doing sequence types. So this is a list, okay? Now the next one we're going to do is tuple. So I'm going to do hashtag tuple, okay? And then we'll return twice, and we're going to do G equals, okay? And we'll do the same thing. Okay, we're going to do Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. So again, instead of brackets, we're going to do these circular things, which I don't remember what the name is, so I apologize for that. We'll do Windows, Mac OS, in quotes, and then Linux, in quotes. Because without the quotes, it will not work. Okay, now we need to print G. Okay, so when I run this, we get Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Okay, now when I do print type, so I want to figure out what it is again and do G, then it's going to tell me tuple. Okay? So that's what it is. So again, all you're doing here is you're creating lists, and tuple is the same idea, just a different type and does different things. And then the final one we're going to do is range. So if I do hashtag range to comment this out, and then I do H equals, it's going to allow me to do range. So I can do a range of 6 or 10. So let's do range 10. Okay. And then I'll print H. Okay. And I'm going to run this. And the range is 0 to 10. So what does that mean? It means that anything within that number, okay, anything inside of that array. So how arrays work is arrays start at 0. So you go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we actually have 11. So when you type in 10, you really have 11. When I type in 9, then I have 10. Okay? It can be a little confusing, but again, they start at 0. And the reason why they do that is, let's say that you have arrays, right? And you want the range to be, and you have 100 arrays, and you want it to be within 9. So you want to grab the first 9 arrays that you have. That would be 0 to 9, right? That's your range, okay? And so then when I do print type, and then we do H, now let's run it and see what happens. Okay, so now we have the class of range. Okay, beautiful. Now let's talk about the next data type. Okay, so the next data type that we're going to cover is which one? Mapping type. Okay, so for mapping type, what it's going to do is we're going to again build an array, but this is a different type of an array. It's a data type, which is an array. And with this, we're going to do I, okay, equals, and we'll do curly braces. If I can find it here on my keyboard. There we go. And then quotes. So we're going to do similar to an array, and you're going to learn more about that later on. But basically what we're going to do is think of an Excel doc, okay, or a spreadsheet, and different cells, okay, different rows. You have 5 rows, so you want name, and then the actual name, age, and then the actual age, okay? So let's do name, and then we'll do colon, and then we'll do Josh, so this is my name. And then age, and my age is 36. So what you're doing is you're creating two rows instead of 4, like I said. And what you're doing is you're saying name, my name is Josh. My age is 35, okay? So you're identifying the data, okay? And then we can use this data for whatever we're doing with our project or whatever we need it for, okay? So print I, or if you want to create a database, let's say, this is how you would start doing that. And you'd be building it out this way. And every time this variable is called with this data type, then you can use that and manipulate it the way you need to within your program. Okay, so when I print I, we get name Josh, age 35. Okay. Now when I do print type, and then we do I, and I run it, okay, then the data type is mapping type, okay? Now let's do set types. So with set types, it's similar, okay? You have set and frozen set, okay? So what we'll do is, again, we'll make another example here, and I'll comment this out, and we'll do set type, set types, colon, and we'll do set and frozen set, okay? And then we'll return, and then we will do the first example. And then we're going to do J, okay, equals, curly braces, and then quotes, Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Okay? And then we're going to print J. So we'll do print J and run it. And we have Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. Okay? Then if I do print type J, it's going to tell me the type, which is set. Okay? And then let's do the other one. So then we have frozen set. So with set, you have a little more flexibility. With frozen set, it's just going to stand still, basically. So let's do hashtag frozen set, and then here let's put set. Let's comment that so we know that it's set, okay? And then below that, we're going to do K equals quotations, and then brackets, and then quotes. We're going to do Windows, Mac OS, in quotes, and Windows, Linux. And you'll notice too, the frozen set, the set, I wrote it this way and it printed it Windows, Linux, Mac OS. Okay, so if I run this again, well, let me show you this first, but I just wanted to point that out because I want to show you the differences so you understand. So when we do print K and then run it, it's Windows, Linux, Mac OS, right? So it switched the order. And then if I do print type K, okay, and then run it, okay, now it's the set, okay? The cell, let's see here. Okay, we'll leave that as is. But there you go. So that's the frozen set and set, okay? And again, the whole idea of learning this is to understand data types and what you can do with them and how to create them, really, okay? Then we have Boolean, okay? So with Boolean, it's a true or false statement, okay? So you only have two options with Boolean, true or false. That's it. On or off. Think of Boolean as your light switch, okay? You only have two options. You can turn it on, you can turn it off. That's it. So we're going to do Boolean, okay? And I want to type in the name of this, so it's going to be bool. So we'll do colon bool, okay? And then below that, we're going to do L equals, and I want you to type in true, okay? So let's do a space. So L equals true, okay? And then print L, and let's run it. Now it gave me an error. True is not defined. Okay, so let's do L equals true. And try it again. And then do print L. Okay, now let's try it. Why did it work? Because you need to capitalize this. Okay. Now let's do M, capital M, just for fun, equals false. Okay, and then we'll print M. Okay, and then run that. So now I have true and false. And then if we have print, now we'll do lowercase, print type M and then L separately. Now let's print that. And it throws me an error. So, because they're not capitalized and they're not defined. So if I capitalize them, because I'm going to actually make them lowercase, okay, it's true because it's grabbing M first, and I didn't do plus L. So that's why I would do that way. So what we'll do is I will put this in lowercase now. So we'll do L, and then L, okay, and then M in lowercase and M. We want to keep this uniform, okay? And then we'll do print type L, and then print type M. There you go. So now we have true, class, Boolean, false, class, Boolean. Okay, excellent work. Now, the final type that we're going to talk about is binary types. So there's three options for binary types. You have bits, bit array, and then memory view. Okay, so with these, you have three different options, like I just said, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, with this, so let's do our normal jazz here, where we go in and we write out what this is, so we know what it is, so we can always come back and reference this, because remember, this is just an introduction to data types. So let's do binary types, okay, and let's do colon, and we'll do bits, okay, bit array, and then memory view, okay, and the first one we're going to do is bits. So let's hashtag bits, okay, and then we'll do the example for this. And we're going to do N, because I'm going in order for the letters too. So you got J, K, L, M, N. And we're going to do N equals O with a string in quotes. So hello, okay? And then let's print N, okay? And then we'll do print type N, okay? And I'll run it. Okay, it says invalid syntax. So let's print N then. Let's try that first. Okay, so we'll validate this. So what we're going to do is we're going to troubleshoot this. So what I want to do is I want to do N equals, and we'll do B, hello. Let's try that. Okay, then we'll print N. Okay. B hello. There you go. Because you call them bits. Okay. So when I did E, it's going to throw an error because it's invalid. So what I'm doing is I'm adding bits, which is B, and it's saying B hello. So bits hello, basically. So it's printing that. So now let's do print type N. Okay, and I'll run that. And now you have class bits. Okay. Now when we do the next one, which is going to be bit array, okay, this is where it gets fun because I really love arrays. So with this one, we're going to do hashtag bit, I can't spell, bit array, okay? So we'll do O equals bit array, and let's do 2, okay? And then let's print that. So let's print O, okay? Whoops, not 0, sorry. Print O. I'm going to run that, and now it's showing 2 arrays, okay? So when we store arrays, which we haven't done yet, but when we store that, then we can manipulate this data, okay? And that's why arrays are so fun, but we're not going to jump into that too much right now. I just want to show you data types first. But I promise you it'll be a lot of fun when we get into arrays. Okay, so print type, and then we're going to do O. Let's run that, and then it's bit array. Okay, now the last one is memory view bits. Okay, so with this one, let's do comment. So let's do hashtag memory view, And I believe it's bits. Let me just make sure. No, it's memory view. Okay. So we're going to do the following. So MNOP. So we're going to do P equals memory view bits. Let's do 8. Okay. And then let's print P. Okay. There we go. And I'm going to actually bring this closer. I like to do that closer because it's easier to read. So now let's run this. And now you can see all these numbers in bits. So you can see how many bits are running. So when you run 8, we have 8 bits. Okay. When I run 2, it changes the number. Okay. When I run 1, let's see what it changes to. Okay. So follow the number there. Okay. So change the bits. So change the letter and the number. So if I do 10, what does that change to? Okay, so change this right here, AC0. Okay. And then if I do print type P, okay, and I run that, there you go. So now you have memory view. So that in a nutshell, and I know this is a long video, but that in a nutshell is all the data types, okay, that are included with Python by default. All right. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.